that dirty town. Try to do my job as well as I can. Well, I'm going back to that dirty town, trying to do my job as well as I can. Walking in these bad streets, try to forget that noise around. I was sitting on that room floor, thinking all the evening about my baby. I was sitting on that room floor, thinking all the evening about my baby. I've lost my mind in a whiskey, and finally I've crossed to bear. With all my heart, can't live without her just today. Well, I love my baby with all my heart, can't live without her just today. I know I won't be satisfied till I come home again. I'm sitting in the train, I'm feeling so lonesome, no one to talk to. I'm sitting in the train, I'm feeling so lonesome, no one to talk to. I'm so excited cause I'm gonna hold my baby. Well, I'm going back to that dirty town, try to do my job as well as I can. Well, I'm going back to that dirty town, trying to do my job as well as I can. Walking in these bad streets, try to forget that noise around.
Good evening, everybody. This is going to be kind of hard. I wanted to say a few things before I start this production I've done about my son. After this runs, I'm going to kind of dive into my son and explain to you who he was, tell you who he was. But in order to do that, I have to expose myself a little bit too. And it's not a pretty picture. It's not a pretty picture at all. And the reason I ran that Dirty Town song is because I do come from a dirty little town. And anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run this production. And then I'm going to, might not think of me the same after I'm done. I guess that's like, I want to put on this production and go from there.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, we see, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, we say, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds first saw the sight, glorious streaming from heaven afar. Heavenly hosts singing Alleluia. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, heaven, love's pure light, radiance beaming from thy holy face. With the dawning of redeeming grace, Jesus, Lord, at thy birth, Jesus, Lord, Holy night, all is calm, we sing, all is bright, round young virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, we say, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly It's been 7 hours and 15 days since you took your love away. I go out every night and sleep all day since you took your love away. Since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want. I can see whomever I choose. I can eat my dinner in a fancy restaurant, but nothing, I said nothing can take away this blues, 'cause nothing compares, nothing compares to you. It's been so lonely without you here, like a bird without a song. Nothing can stop these lonely tears from falling. Tell me, baby, where did I go wrong? I can put my arms around every boy I see. They only remind me of you. I went to the doctor and guess what he told me? Guess what he told me? He said, girl, you better try to have fun no matter what you do. But he's a fool, 'cause nothing compares, nothing compares to you. All the flowers that you planted, mama, in the backyard, getting away. I know that living with you, baby, was sometimes hard, but I'm willing to give it another try. Nothing compares, nothing compares to you. Nothing compares, nothing compares to you. Nothing compares, nothing compares to you.
Hey, Dad, give me a call when you get home, or whatever, later. Hey, Dad, give me a call when you get home, or whatever, later. Hey, Dad, give me a call when you get home, or whatever, later. Hey, Dad, give me a call when you get home, or whatever, later. Hey, Dad, give me a call when you get home, or whatever, later. Hey, Dad, give me a call when you get home, or whatever, later. Hey, Dad, give me a call when you get home, or whatever, later. Hey, Dad, give me a call when you get home, or whatever, later.
As water runs down the creek, my love runs deep. Into the air, I sadly weep. The earth turns and turns as our hearts burn. Water runs down the creek. My love is true and it's deep. Words spoken have no term. As my soul burns. My soul knows what's right as I gently walk through the night. As water runs down the creek, my love runs deep into the air. I sadly weep. Water runs down the creek. My love is true, it's true, and it's deep. My soul knows what's right as I gently walk through my night. Words spoken, they have no term. As my soul slowly burns. sad to read. Earth, turn and turn, as our hearts burn and burn. Words spoken, they have no turn, as my soul slowly burns. My soul moves right as I gently walk through my night, as water runs down the creek. My soul, my love runs deep.
Yeah, I wanted to get into a little bit about who Joe was, and to do that, I have to dig into myself a little bit. And like I said, it's not a pretty story, but I was raised on a res, you know, like I said, a dirty little town. And by the time I was 13, my brother-in-law, um, he introduced me to some of his friends who were some from Colombia and some from Mexico. And I was dealing weed. This is back in, you got to remember, this is back in like 73. So I was 13 years old and dealing good amounts of weed. And bless his soul, he was like a brother to me, my brother-in-law. He took me hunting, fishing, everything. He passed away in 86 from a massive heart attack. He was 36 years old. A lot of death comes on the res. Maybe one of these days I'll run a show on how death has affected me. This being probably the biggest one, or is the biggest one. I met his mother when I was 15. We tried having a normal life. I mean, my parents owned a grocery store, which made me really cocky and arrogant. Started playing in bands when I was 19. Big fucking rock star. We'd take Joey to the store with us because both Barb, Joe's mother, Joe and Brad's mother, we both worked there. And, we put him in a cart, with his little feet, where you put the little feet in and everything, And crazy thing is that He loved bananas. He totally loved bananas. And if you offered him a banana and a candy bar, he'd take the banana. He'd take the banana over a candy bar, you know. I just want to touch on who he was. He was such a bubbly little guy and really easy baby to take care of. He didn't cry all the time. He didn't, you know, he was just a good baby. Um, so we had this grocery store, and I was cocky and arrogant. You know, I always had the baddest cars in town, and whatever. Man, went through the 80s, and it got to, you know, I remember teaching him how to ride his bike. And he loved to fish with his dad, man. He just he fucking cherished the ground I walked on. He loved his dad so much. I mean, just unbelievable amount of love for his dad. I ended up breaking his little heart. In 86, we sold the store in 83. Joe was 3 years old. And I started bouncing in bartending at a really crazy bar. I mean, you don't even know what that kind of a bar is on the res. You just, and seen this young girl out the window where we lived on the east side. And she was 17 years old, just turned. I was 26, going on almost 27. I started letting her in to the bar when I was working after hours. Barb was pregnant again with Brad. She was 7 months pregnant. And I left her and Joey. I left her and Joey. She was 7 months pregnant for that 17-year-old girl. I broke his little heart. The girl that I left them for was, I had 3 kids with after, you know. But I ended up breaking his little heart. I mean, he loved his dad so much. Man, when me and Rachel, that was her name, when we split up in 93, I mean, I was living down Minneapolis, St. Paul. I was selling cars, and I was a very good car salesman. I mean, very, very good. I worked for what was called William McCarthy's, and they had many dealerships, and I was their number 2 salesman out of all the dealerships. Number 1 in customer satisfaction. I did very well at it. It was kind of funny, though. when we split up in '93, I just wanted to come back to the res, man. I just wanted to come back to who I was. I quit my music for 5 years. I just wanted to change my life and get better, you know. So I moved back here, and Joe was so happy that I was back. You know, I mean, it wasn't like I didn't pay attention to him or anything like that. I mean, I took him to trips to Washington State, the Yakima Valley. Um, I made their Christmases very good. I was always there, you know, for them, and all the kids. Ended up raising 3 of them. But when I came back in '93, I had to ask Barb, and she, you know, she met somebody. I left her in April of '87, and she was with somebody by September, and she was with him for a long time until he passed away. Bless his soul too, because we became very good friends, and Barb and I, we got along. I mean, she actually invited Rachel and I over for a Thanksgiving dinner. A lot of people won't understand that, but we do. That's just the way my family's like that too. I mean, at Christmas time, you know, there was a mixture. You know what I'm saying? There was like exes and their new ones, and you know, people were little kids running around saying, "Mom, Dad." I mean, it was just the way it was. That's just the way it was. Anyway, I asked Barb if I could store some of my stuff down in her basement, and Joe's, you know, he's like 12, 13 years old, and one of the things in storage was a briefcase, and his crazy idea was that I had money in it because he thought I made so much money selling cars. I have to say, Paula, he thought there was. He thought I had money in that, you know. And he started getting older, and I got back into bands again, and I started dealing pretty heavy weed up here, and I mean, I was the man, you know what I'm saying, and started playing in bands, and Joe ended up watching because I was raising two of the other kids at that time, and when I go do my gigs, and he was the watcher, you know, he watched the kids. You know, one of the times that my daughter will never forget, I took them all swimming and stuff, and Joe carried my little daughter way out there, and she was scared of the water. He always watched over his little sister. kept her safe from her brothers because her little brothers were pretty mean to her. And Joe was always just her protector. It was hard intermatching the two families, the kids, when I came up here. And then I got custody of a couple of my kids, and it was tough to bring those kids together as one family. There was jealousy. There was, you know, I mean, it was hard. It was really hard. And I was dad and mom. But I was cocky and I was arrogant, and women was a weakness. I mean, I've been with a couple hundred women, you know what I'm saying? And I've only been with one woman since 2013. And I stopped seeing her in 2019. And I still had been with a couple hundred women. So it was over this period of rock starish bullshit, you know. I mean, they were really good bands. I mean, um, we opened up for like the Scorpions and Deep Purple and Marshall Tucker, Eddie Money. I mean, I could go on and on. 38 Special, and but Joe put all that, you know. At first, it was just really hard to bring them two families together, those kids together, but once they did, we were all one family, and they all loved each other and love each other, and but it was a tough road. But Joe was the watcher. He was the rock of the family. He was everything, man. He was helped me work on cars. When he died, he was 327 pounds of muscle. He was a big boy. And what time is it? 8:39. 25 years ago today. He came out right now, about this time. He came out to this cabin I was staying at. That was the last time I seen him. And he came in and he had a friend out in the car, a girl, and he wanted me to score her a quarter pound of wheat. And I didn't have anything on me. It was all at the warehouse, and my bass player was there, and I turned him down. I said, no, I'm not getting up and going out there just for a quarter pound, and I'm not going to sell to that girl I didn't even know at that time. And he told me, he said, well, we're going to the casino. I got a room there. I remember him opening the refrigerator, and I feel bad about this too. He opened the refrigerator and he was looking for something to eat quick before he ran back out to his friend. There was this fucking old pizza that had been sitting in there like for over a week, and he was going to start munching. I said, Joe, no, don't eat that, man. I got to toss that out. I got to throw that away. And one of the things you have to go through is you have to read the autopsy reports and all that shit that I had to go through, we had to go through. And one of the things that his stomach was empty. And that still gets to me today. My son died with an empty stomach. And he left. If I would have went and got him that quarter pound for that girl, he wouldn't have had the time to go get someone. He wouldn't have had someone run for him and get him some liquor. And he got pretty drunk at the casino. They didn't serve liquor there because it was on sacred ground, powwow ground. So, they got their own liquor. And he got really drunk, and he ended up in this room where they were selling crack cocaine. And he wasn't into drugs, he wasn't. He didn't even smoke weed. He didn't. none of that. And from the investigations, not just from the county and the BCA, but from my own investigation, he was being held against his will in that room. And a girl came walking in. She said there was blood on the floor. And that Joe jumped up off the bed right away and went running out the door. And he went down to the front desk and he was hollering, "Call the FBI, call the police." And, he was drunk. And he didn't drink much, which was kind of shocking. He was 18. He could make up his own mind, 5 security guards came down and he ended up in a computer room. And the whole casino has cameras, right? There was only one place in the whole casino they didn't have cameras, and that was that computer room. We had to watch the video, and what we seen was these 5 security guards going into this room, and we seen Joe's hand flick one of the security guards' tie, flick it up in the air like. And so they go in there. They're only in there 2 minutes, and they were dragging him out. And they laid him in front of the hotel desk. Then another security guard, he was already out cold. Another security guard got on top of his back and put his knee on his back and took his leg and he was face down and put it up to his neck. He was already out. He was already out. And we sat there. When he finally got off, it took him 6 minutes before the EMT from the casino got to him or tried to resuscitate him. And we watched him as he turned gray and laid there and died. And we had to watch that video. I failed my son. I wasn't there. I failed my son. It is time of the greatest need. I wasn't there. My brother's a lawyer. But he's a corporate lawyer, So he laid us on to some other lawyers. In my own investigations, I found out who did it in that room, and they snuffed him. You know what I mean? They choked him out. They one of them. You know what I'm talking about? Where your arms they snuffed him out, man. They choked him out. And all he did is he was looking for help. He was looking for help, and he was a very excitable. I mean, listening to him, he'd go to movies and he'd come and he'd tell you about the movie and he'd be just so excited in his voice and he'd talk really fast. That was Joe. That was Joe. So I went down a really hard road. I started getting into the pills, and that 5-year court case was a fucking nightmare, man. It was a fucking nightmare, and I wish I would have never fucking even did it. And then they never spent one fucking day, not one day in jail. Didn't even lose their fucking jobs. And a very famous medical examiner from the Twin Cities, Dr. McGee, he was in the book called A Death in White Bear Lake, the Dennis Jurgens story. Anyway, when we talked to him, he brought me and Barb into this room separately. Then he told us, he said, I cannot list it as murder. I have to list it as probable homicide. Probable. Because he did have a slight heart issue, which he did not think that caused that death. And what he said was, in that computer room, something happened in that computer room. But I cannot list it as murder. I cannot list it as homicide. I have to list it as probable homicide, which makes it tough to try to press charges against the person that did that. So anyway, you cannot sue a Native American casino. They have immunity. But the elders looked at the case, and for the first time in the history, a tribe dropped their immunity and allowed us to sue them. Which I wish we would have never done, because it was 5 years of fucking total hell. I went down wrong paths. I OD'd 3 times. Once, right after we got done opening for the Scorpions, I went down, and it was at a big, huge music fest. And these people came over, I guess, in these 4-wheelers, and they were going to drag me off into the trees and, quotation marks here, let me sleep it off. And the girl I was with at the time, she told them, well, there's a little more to this than just drinking. And so they took my blood pressure. It was 35 over 25 and dropping. So they had to rush me into the hospital. And I just remember waking up with a bunch of tubes all over. I mean, I guess they gave me Narcan and blah, blah, blah. That's getting too much into me. My son was a beautiful spirit, and that girl that was on there that said special friend Jenny, well, she turned out to be one of my exes too. That was one of his. That's what I'm telling you. I was really cocky and arrogant, and yeah, during them 5 years, I just I didn't want to think about it anymore. You know what I mean? I wanted to numb out, and the pills, and I was dealing big time. I mean, like big time. And I was supplying, the whole northern half of Minnesota and North Dakota and Wisconsin. And I mean, I had it going all over the place. But I got into the pills, and but I had connections to get opium, and I was smoking black tar opium, if anybody knows what that is. It wasn't like orange rock or red rock. It was the black tar opium. And that time I OD'd after we opened for the Scorpions that time. I had opium stains all over my pants from smoking it, and I was doing morphine and Tylox that day. And I just went down, and I didn't want to live anymore. I had so much guilt feelings, and then it affected the band. Jen, our singer, we loved each other. I don't even want to get into that, but we were playing at a place, and she turned around and see me snorting a Tylox off my amp, and she just said, "We're done. I'm done. I'm not going to watch you kill yourself." And that was the last time we played. It affected everything, and I got off the pills. That was one of the hardest things I ever did. It was a month and a half of withdrawals. It was fucking awful, man. But then I went right into cocaine and cooking up crack again, like I did when I lived down in the cities. I just wanted to numb, you know what I mean? And the court case dragged on those 5 years. It was fucking awful. We had to read the autopsy reports, watch the video, all the paperwork, oh my God, it was fucking awful. And when it ended, when we got money and everything, I got the fuck out of this town, and I moved to Fargo, and I cleaned up my life. The day I moved there is when that night they surrounded my place. I was warned. I mean, the organization had, we had our people that worked in the BCA, which is the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. We had people that worked for the police department. We had people in our pockets, and I was warned ahead of time. So when they crashed my place, and my truck was packed, loaded to go to Fargo, you know what I'm saying? And they came in and they crashed the place, and I was just trying to get out of state, and they found 2 joints in my girlfriend's purse, and they were arguing amongst themselves, saying it was your investigation, blah blah blah. And they let me go. They didn't find anything, and so I moved to Fargo for 4 years. I cleaned up my fucking life. I went to 3 years of therapy. It's the guilt, and it never goes away. This shit never goes away. It's 25 fucking years, and this shit don't go away. It just doesn't go away. I have my son's hat hanging on a wall in my bedroom. It doesn't go away. I miss him just as much today as I did when I first left. He was the rock of the family. He was the fucking rock of the family. We're playing there's this big jam called Moon Dance Jam. It's only like 35 miles from here. And but we're this was 1998, and we didn't book the jam. We booked because we were booked. We had a 6-month contract with a club a mile from there, and Joel made it to Moon Dance Jam, and it was one of the funnest times he had in his life. And he came in, he was kind of half buzzed up, whatever, went into that club where we were playing, and he was going, Dad, I'm having so much fun. And Johnny Lang was there and everything. And you know, and girls all over. And, you know, I got pictures of him with these girls, you know, a whole bunch of girls. And just, I mean, he was having the time of his life. I'm so glad he did that. I'm so glad he did that. But here's the funny story, and this is the way Joe was. So he tells me, he goes, Dad, ZZ Top flew in a helicopter, and they finished the night out. That's what he told me, right? So I'm going around town telling everybody, hey, ZZ Top flew in with a helicopter, and they finished the night out there. And I ran to this one girl, and she goes, Tom, she goes, I ran lights. ZZ Top didn't fucking come there. I was like, oh, that little fucking shit. Then the next time I seen him, I said, oh, you little fucker. And he starts laughing. That was him. And the little imp smiled of his. Oh my God. Anyway, that was my son Joe. He was just like they say. I mean, and that's what they said about Joe, all his friends. He was just a big teddy bear. You know what I mean? He was just a big teddy bear. He didn't ever want to hurt anybody, and that's what I just don't get. I don't get. He went down to he was screaming for help, and that's what he got. He ended up dead because he was screaming for help. He needed help. He was held against his will. There's an article in the Minnesota Law and Politics magazine on his death. And it gets into the politics of it. I've been offered to write a book about it from a New York publishing company. But it would be too political, and I have to live here. I mean, I don't have to live here, but I want to live here. This is where I'm from. This is me. So I had to turn that down. But, you know, trying to get the story out, they did change some training procedures because of my son. But the guy that did this, the main one, the one that actually choked him out, was the second time he did it. He's taken another life the same way. And there will never be justice in that case. Never. And maybe that's why I'm so into this Idaho 4 case. I don't know. I don't know. I just know I miss my son, and I miss them dearly. And things, I mean, I could go on things. I don't want to. I think I've said enough, you know what I mean? I'm going to leave you with when I was in the band, and thank God for that band because, and Gen X, who was the lead singer, because we were on contract. I had to keep playing, people. I had to keep playing through this. I mean, a week later, I was playing. And I had to wear sunglasses all the time because I'd start bawling on stage while I was playing. We do songs like Knocking on Heaven's Door. We have one song that was called, and I'm going to leave you with that song. And I'm going to tell you the backstory of it. And it's called Joey by Concrete Blonde. I don't know if you guys know it or not. But I'd always break down crying, and you'll notice that Jen's wearing sunglasses. She grabbed the sunglasses from me before we started playing that song, and she just said, "It's time to stop." So I had to do the song without no sunglasses, and I did really well. I did it. I made it through it, and that was the last time I wore sunglasses. Even though it was still really, really, really hard. But I'm going to leave you with that song. And then I'm going to leave you with two songs. That song, and it's us doing it live at a club, probably 10 miles from where I'm at right now. And you'll see that Gen X has got my sunglasses on. The song is called Joey. And then I'm going to leave you with a song after that. That's off of my very first album, first CD. And actually he's in another one too. Just redone a little bit. Anyway, I thank you for being here, all you beautiful people. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. I think we're going to probably have one more show before Christmas. I've changed a lot. I want you to know that I'm not this woman's man or whatever. I'm not like that anymore. Took me a long time to figure out that they didn't love me. They love my guitar. That's what they love. They love my fucking guitar. They didn't love me. I was like a fucking chunk of meat. But anyway, I thank you for putting up with me on this. I didn't even say my highs, but I'm sure you all know I love you all. And until next time, okay?
Order up. We're near the last call.
I got the magic glasses on. They're lights. Joey, baby, don't get crazy. It's fences. I get defenses. I have heard it before, so I don't say it anymore. I just stand by and watch you fight your secret war. seem to be confused. Well, I didn't mean to real you. I never said I scared you. Well, I guess you scared me too. And if it's love you're looking for, well, I can give a little more. And if it's somewhere drunk and passed out on the floor, oh, Joey, I'm not angry anymore. Angry anymore. Must be the glasses.
Life is a one-way street, always looking for answers, living out this dream world, striking down all the fears. Came to me in a dream that the wizard would set me free. Pain of living is sometimes hard to go on, but you see, that life can go on, but you see that the wizard still lives on. But you see that life can go on. Wizards on the mountain, city sprayed with stardust. Wizard knows his power, spreads his magic powder over his kingdom. But life is a one-way street, always looking for answers. Pain of living is sometimes hard to go on, but you see that life can go on, but you see that the wizard still lives on. But you see that the wizard still lives on. But you see that life can go on.